How can you beat that? I mean, really, you can't. It's not like a dead horse. All right, so considering I've got some time here, I will do some self-promotion. AllTheWrongTopics.com. I don't publish really anywhere else, it seems. Just kind of slow like that. So, here we go. Ringing sentiment that the world as we know it is over, while not knowing what to do with ourselves in the mass of sweaty, offensive bodies forcing their way through the portal to home unknown until we all get within a better range of whatever it is that is the desired place or thing, as objects of our dreams made into a manifestation by idle forces forcing to work the ones whose attention is paid as installments, stalled by the absurd qualities of the herd versus the hive, when both sides are brimming with idiots, whether it is religious pilgrimages or opportunistic business trips made to extravagant excess that vagrants cannot access without threatening the pursuit of crappiness into which we all seem wooed, countering the mystic mojo of finding our way out of the maze, no matter how corny it appears to mean or say, as a crap happening to be beat out of us from the start, as when we first were shot out of this human cannon that carried us to fruition under opposition of hatred, inasmuch as the burden of love evolving us through these generations by pieces, passing seasons in the bliss, born to conjoin these traits with another lost soul who wishes only the best for us and we for them, and tapping a part of the ancestor whole filled with consequences from actions we have never made on our own. But it doesn't stop us from being any more or less than we simply are, while trapped here mocking the irony of it all, as now is marching away to fight yet another battle with the shitty weapons of the worrisome, as displayed like the scalps of previous soldiers and leaders who fought bravely, though never knew that this is wherein their motions would lead, while their comrades and other bodies were crumpling to the ground, once struck down by a fire unbridled, as witness to the televised execution of things, so that some kindnesses bear out the spoiled, rotten fruits of labors in vibrant currency, as spreading and electrifying shocks of the system into a current state taken for granted by the residents, unaware that the rules of a mankind has imposed them with all forms of tactical subversion, working to undermine the whatever it is a people might expect of their governance. Sorry, incoming call that I had to stop. Damn. And it's a really important call too, so it's really kind of necessary. Nope, not a job. My cat is being tortured by the apartment people, so it's really not fun. But at the same time, I'm still on the mic. So there you go. Yeah, thank you.
Is that going to be okay?
I should hope so, but I won't know until I get off the microphone. Okay, so, here we go. Yeah. Unaware that the rules of the mankind has imposed them with all forms of tactical subversion, working to undermine the whatever it is a people might expect of their governance, as when has there ever been some kind of happiness here without the price attached by those arch cronies dealing in demands, attempting to cajole in as much command the rest of this horde as secretive strategies used to direct ancient plot lines of struggle and conquer, as cosmic jokesmiths of the highest order, unlike wizards behind the curtain, whose laughter is as residue maniacal and malignant as fickle shadows fade into background noise. But no thing will ever stay silent for too long, as energies release and recycle over those courses grown and charted even in what we call death. There is always motion throughout the layers as they churn, and to expose what it is that ails us, no matter the refusal we have to truly see it from whatever surface appearance might be projected, to assume visions that observers could wish to appease their own egos. Thank you. That one's called Thick Epiphany. Appreciate that. Thank you. This one is called Didgeridoo Don't. Yes. Blowing the horn of plenty as perhaps thinly veiled metaphor to describing a deal we have carved out with all our dead gods and those yet born into this magical world that eats its children, as time robs us of our will to live, as the nerves burned out by the overstimulation, realized here, as superabundance gives way to diseases and plague waves of ignorance to keep these decaying frames lost and oblivious, amazed that it somehow keeps moving along as it jerk off the old system, making our machines intense and more imposing than us at times. When the mystical and the digital combine into one unified field paradigm ascent to a new mind, perhaps one step up from those labored animals we have been for this long at last, as the gears of war and industry start grinding to a halt, if under a sick jurisdiction of those whose attempts to mechanize humanity dislodged compassion and all that is humane from the soul, a purged cold hole fill or be filled with the toxic backwash after generations of abuse let loose, and then to pipe a magma of stories through the minds of children growing up loose within a system that doesn't ever have their best interests in focus unless there is some ulterior angle to maintain a privilege as an edge one step ahead of the game played, defending a droning atmosphere of dread and paranoia as better of the many evils pervasive in this world scenario, estranged from a species in duress, as the modern burden of conformity to bear as emotional weight, constraining any social movement from place to place, when there are so many unwanted offending swaggers, gestures, as the codes we speak with, driving us to try to understand what others are saying to us through their exaggerated symbols and syllables, woven, twisting meaning, and the moments we spend trying to interpret what it means to being this human, as a variety of ways to address this as a problem to be solved, witnessed, and cataloged in an extrapolation of human opinion, guessing by strokes of the imagination, breaching the blood-brain barrier to enter a variety of things into the living consciousness that might even sting, if reluctantly unwilling to any new changes of perspective, to give anything a chance in pleading its case. Soon, playing out a fantasy sometimes as a fanciful daydream that opens out to awakening parts of awareness, never realized before that single epiphany of the moment, as we might quickly forget once the moment is supposedly over. But the deeper we go, the more we grow as parts of a civilization experiencing itself collectively with a massive mortal connective tissue that is more than merely a soul or a body or any a purely abstracted conclusion that you may offer, because it all leads to this one definite point between you and I as we travel through this harmony, as all ancestors and entities on the pathways and those dreamtime settings sometimes yearned for, as spiritual in swings greater than to simply be religious, if we endorse us at all. Thank you. This one is called Freak Flags Fly High. The deep frequency is proudly displayed with bold and present colors, swaying in the diesel breeze with a fluid grace that a wind, no matter how harsh, always carries within it, crossing the threshold between fire and ice as the inspiration comes in bold strokes of imagination, swaying all too briefly on for those impermanent periods we have here, sometimes fully aware of what is going on around us, although in a state of almost constant, a struggle to attempt relieving the psychic pressure of fear, lurking all over the space in various forms of an identity, to carry the messages further than one form would allow. Innovation beyond our mere faith in this one skin we find ourselves tripping within, sometimes deriding the ungainly suit of flesh toward abuse, where an understanding for the dynamics of oneself has eroded or is never thoroughly developed as a sense inside of a person, whose ideas may be kept locked up, holding back the brilliance of this enlightenment for others deemed selfishly unworthy, no matter what the cost, in an even exchange that must eventually be taught and learned like a muscle memory made reflex, capable of a potential for adaptation even through any negative judgments or pejorative remarks, as reflecting general indignant indigence of a spirit used to material expectations. And when the universe grants the wishes it feels we become worthy of, as many of these articulate visions evolve and expand before inner eyes that see further ahead than a you or I would be capable now, as chooses to do the same because of that equalizing force in a freedom of choice, punishing the evildoers as well preventing their return once in awareness of the harm possible to others of us, not used to the torment or suffering utilized as tools of a subtle social manipulation through the vicious etiquette of torture in tune with the cruel fits of mankind, not allowing enough breathing room for the few of those left not waving their flags or the other conformist paraphernalia, giving up their public permission for the shit to keep washing over us, to train the masses to be scared and stupid, with the distinct purpose to not question these orders given, even those rules shifting and changing at a moment's notice, as within our modern police state. But that a will of a people is not now so easily domesticated when there is no capacity for a dismissal against this wall created by we all who believed everything we are told by those we call the higher authorities, even as they come in, calling for our executions and holding us accountable for all those ailments, social, mental, and otherwise, that prevail yet we do not see. But can we ever overcome this mass-produced profile that absorbs our skills and knowledges in homogeneous masses that crash and wield godlike powers now at the push of a button, which as easily frames this world into constraining boxes, become crushing once the visions created become too narrowed to work? Thank you. Last one, a heavy, petty distraction. Where are our leaders in honesty who have had to adapt to the same as we to these traditional formats, mad at the alteration of sequence and anything new, like that repeated pattern of worries or concerns that sends the furrows down our brow in times of stress and not an actual relaxation, as those futile humping moves adulterated by the adults is making children forget what it truly means to behave in a manner so befitting of this humanity that accepts and loves without fear, as the linchpin or keystone in this a false mechanical ritual fostered by a shamed curiosity which changed somewhere between here and there. Honesty as that substantial yet painful taboo commodity to which all seriousness defers power, to the facts as related to the tribal community we share as more stories, each a slightly veiled mystery lived out as a reality to those few who witness and cater to gems of wisdom worth their values in use and in application amidst the man-made universe of constraint that overtakes those ideal bubbles blown by the denizens making use of their misery. But even adaptation to these dysfunctions has its common quirks that cannot be simply avoided, like emotions coming back to haunt those who cannot grasp the effects as serious repercussions rippling outward in ringing circles, whirling about to spin this cosmos into the crazy trivial dances of macabre embracing everything as a love unconditional that will span beyond our scales of time and ideals of sacred, as that immutable tactic to win us over with promises of glory and riches, distinctive fits of ire and rage at those condemning forces working over the handful captured here who were only trying to promote harmony between spheres of influence before the arresting hands of mankind afflicting the sufferers with more of what deserves a criminal so well known for subversive activities against a brutal dictatorship through the counseling of others who have also been attacked unjustly by these same hands. We are kept sad and tragic fools as a means of keeping humanity in check with the rules and regulations said to be divined from some higher authority whose state shall remain nameless as long as we remain faithless, dissecting questions the pieces of this dream allows us to see, taking an insight from the random distress as it flows through us like water, and it tugs and transmits what we may assume to be instructions to restoration of greatness. But this seems more like fairy tale woven over the barest essentials to speak deeply to our personal sense of humanity, as it can perceive things beyond ourselves into creating connective bonds between our needs and our precariously balanced environment, allowing communication when the winds of change are right and various unknown stars seem to align with the righteous forces working in our favor, even as we try to be wary of all the villains in whose demonological aspects of strife and terror and worry as terms of challenge yet to be spurned.
All right.